Oh, hi. Nice to speak to you. How are you
Hi,
doing?
nice to speak to you. How are you? I'm great.
This is all quite surreal, isn't it? How are you finding doing everything digitally?
Yeah, it's strange. I'm such an extrovert, so I love interacting with people face to face, and so I'm kind of missing that. But this is I don't know. This is like pretty comparable. This is the best we can
Yeah,
do, and I'm enjoying doing press this way. I get to be in like comfortable pants and sit in my chair at home and hang out. So I am enjoying that part of it.
yeah. You can be bottom half PJs and top half
Yeah,
normal.
that was me yesterday. I was sweatpants on the bottom, blazer on the top.
So I know we haven't got too long, killed some of my minutes with tech issues, but for those who aren't already familiar with The Fast of Night, how do you go about giving a brief synopsis of this film? It's quite a hard one to actually
Yes.
describe. So how do you describe it?
So the way I would describe it, concisely would be I play Faye. She's a 16-year-old switchboard operator in 1950s small town New Mexico. And her friend is Everett, and he's the radio DJ in said small town. And one night, Faye kind of hears a strange noise come over the switchboard, and she loops Everett in to try to figure out what it is. And it sort of sets them off on this adventure over the course of a night to find out the sound, where it's coming from, what it is, and what that might mean for us.
And what attracted to you to this? Was it the script? I mean, it's such a unique story, and but particularly the way it's been shot, and kind of like Andrew's approach to it is very unique. But what was it that first attracted you to the character in the film?
Well, the script initially, when I read it, it had such a clear vision and such a descriptive sort of language, and the camera directions were written into the script. So, by the time I finished reading the script, I had a very clear visualization of what the film would look like, and that was very exciting because the script itself was just unique. I read a lot of scripts. I hadn't gotten one that was like that at all ever. And then just the clear vision that it had on the page was doubly unique and doubly interesting. And then the character of Faye really attracted me to the project because as an actress, characters like Faye don't really come along all that often. This really interesting, multifaceted, sort of nuanced female strong lead that has this awesome sort of arc over the course of the film. She starts out the film really hesitant to assert herself and really timid and kind of bashful, and then by the end of the film she's leading this adventure. She's bossing Everett around. She's she has the courage and the resolve to sort of assert herself, and so I thought that arc was really appealing, and I really wanted to be able to portray that. And just the character, she's so charming and witty and unique and genuine. I just really connected with it, I guess.
And you have a great chemistry with Jake, and I think a lot of like what comes out through both of your characters is this interaction between the two of you and kind of bouncing off each other. So
Mhm.
so what was it like working with him?
It was wonderful. Jake and I had a lot of time to rehearse before, we shot anything. And so we had a lot of time to get to know each other, just as friends and as performers. And, we were kind of in this strange little adventure together, in this very small town in Texas. We're both big city people, and we were just kind of like plopped in this very small town without a car. And so when we weren't shooting, we had literally nothing else to do but hang out and just, try to go on adventures in this tiny town, to the strip mall or to fast food place, or just do a lot of all this interesting, like, people watching at all the bars and stuff like that. And so we had a lot of time to just actually hang out, chill and just, talk about music and talk about movies and talk about, art and stuff like that. And I feel like the fact that we had all this time to get to know each other and get to know our characters really serves the relationship on screen, because by the time we got to set to actually shoot it, we just goofed around and had fun because we'd already, done a lot of the sort of heavy lifting work. We'd already done all the workshopping and the character, stuff, and, working with Andrew and workshopping different ideas and, trying to feel it out creatively. And, so by the time we got to set, Jake and I, just got to sort of goof around and have fun. I think a lot of that goofiness sort of bleeds into the movie a little bit, and I'm glad it does.
And in terms of your experience of shooting, I mean, a lot of it I believe was shot at night,
Yes.
and obviously it's like immersed in this 1950s era with the costume. Like, I love the glasses. Like, I mean, you look totally different now. I almost don't
Yeah,
recognize
right.
you.
Yeah, I'm here in my like tracksuit, like
So, you know, like what was that experience like? I mean, some of the, you know, it's like single shots, some of it as well. So that must have been a very intense shooting process.
Yes and no. I mean, the night shoot sort of schedule really works for me. I feel bad that it doesn't work for a lot of people, but it really works for me. I'm naturally nocturnal. You know, I don't know what time it is, but you know, if I wasn't having this wonderful conversation with you, I would definitely be asleep right now. So just, you know, that, you know, was not really any kind of extra challenge. And a lot of the very complicated shots, you know, it was just a matter of choreography, which, you know, is a little sort of odd sometimes, especially as an actor, when you're trying to, you know, be as natural as possible or as real in the moment, and you have to cheat this way or hit this certain mark. It is like a little awkward and stuff, but I don't know, a lot of the setup for the shots was, you know, done while Jake and I kind of hung out and ran lines and stuff like that. And so they would set up a lot of these shots, you know, do all of the work, and then finally when I would come in, I would just kind of have to choreograph myself into, you know, whatever sort of dance they were doing with, you know, all the camera work and stuff like that. But I don't really feel like it was a very, you know, difficult sort of aspect of filming the movie for me. In fact, like, I know like a lot of the role was very challenging, and I had to like learn some interesting skills and, you know, say a lot of dialogue and run a lot in the movie, but I don't view the movie as like a very difficult experience or a very like grueling or hard one or exhausting one, because I was, you know, probably on just the high of getting to collaborate with such awesome people and, you know, getting to be creative in like a very freeing environment. So I think I was just more focused on that. I wasn't really focused on any of the sort of other aspects of the shoot that would have made it maybe harder.
Mm. And you know, it's a very bold film in
Yeah.
the way that it plays out, both in like the narrative storyline, but also like the cinematic style. I mean, there's even sections where the screen goes blank, you know, almost more like it's a radio show that you're listening to rather than even a
Yeah.
film. So how much of that was clear to you, like, you know, in the making of it, or did you kind of realize just how ambitious Andrew had been when you saw the final thing?
Um, I don't know. I think I kind of knew how ambitious Andrew was going in. And I think that was part of, you know, what was so exciting to me about it, is I could tell he was ambitious and he had this very, you know, big goal for what the film could be. And that was so exciting, you know, and that was so, you know, attractive to me, because I wanted, you know, to be a part of, you know, something that, you know, had all this grand ambition. You know, I don't think ambition's like bad. And I think that like in the script itself is ambitious. There's so much on the page that really sort of illustrates the way the film ends up looking, and so a lot of that was prevalent on the page and made me really even doubly excited to try to join. So I wasn't really like shocked or anything by the sort of bold choices and stuff that were made in the film, like after the fact or anything. They were pretty I don't know, they were pretty transparent, you know. Initially, before we ever started filming, I knew we were going to be doing some stuff that was really unique and very different and, you know, kind of unorthodox, you know, for the typical sets I'd been on and stuff like that. And that's really what made me want to do it even more, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think people are going to take away from the film? That it feels like there's some, like, you know, like in terms of themes and stuff. I mean, we've got this different era of the 1950s, you know, some mentions there of, like, you know, Billy's race, for example. There's kind of things about the unknown. And then, you know, like this amazing, like, strong female character that you said that you play. So, you know, what do you think are some of the themes that come out of it?
Some of the themes, I feel like, you know, especially it just, you know, timed out oddly, you know, with current times, but, you know, exploring and, you know, like wanting to find out about this thing that you can't see and you can't, you know, it's not tangible yet, you know, trying to sort of, you know, the whole movie's like this quest to, you know, try to sort of make something, you know, this idea that Faye has, or this hope or this optimism that Faye has for what this sound could mean, trying to, you know, make it tangible and like understand it, you know. And I think that's, you know, kind of a relevant message now, you know, trying to understand, you know, the unknown, and the future is, you know, a little scary right now, especially. And so I think maybe what I really hope people sort of get out of the film viewing it at home right now is sort of maybe a respite from all of the sort of stress and questions that we're having about our future now, by maybe getting to see Everett and Faye kind of go on this adventure to figure out this other sort of unknown thing they're trying to sort of make tangible to themselves. And, you know, just, I feel like the film has a lot of different like layers of stuff. You know, there's these wonderful, very sweet, very touching moments, and there's these wonderful sort of comedic moments between Everett and Faye, and then there's these very eerie moments, and then there's very, very jarring moments in the film. And I'm hoping that maybe all of those sort of things might provide people like a nice escape, you know, and they can watch it and, you know, really sort of tune in and listen to like the very, you know, story that's like being told to them. And I don't know, I don't know if, you know, the film necessarily will, you know, make everyone feel better, but I'm hoping it provides maybe some kind of either catharsis, you know, to watch these two kids try to, you know, search for the unknown, or, you know, just like I said, a respite. You know, all these wonderful, touching, sweet, funny moments might, you know, provide, I don't know, like something just else. You know, a lot of people, including me, I'm just very anxious right now, so I feel like the film, you know, touches on people's anxieties, and, you know, also might maybe assuage it a little bit, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I don't know if I've got time for one more question. Is Simon there? No. Can you quickly tell us what you're going to work on next?
Yeah, so I have another film that came out recently called VFW, and it's like a horror film. It's a very splatterfest, super B movie, really fun. And I have another film coming out. It's like a sexy sort of thriller called Exploited. That'll be coming out this year. And then I also produced a short film that should be coming out sometime. And I'm just trying to also, you know, be creative and stuff while I'm, you know, quarantining myself, trying to, you know, make content and, you know, self-develop and things like that. So I guess that's what I'm focusing on right now.
And I read that Andrew called you one of like the biggest cinephiles he'd ever met. So are you quite like a geek on film? And was that another thing that attracted you, like how many references that he manages to pack in?
Yes, actually. You know, the number one thing that attracted me to the project was, one, that it was like something, you know, I have like all these sort of maybe snooty standards for movies that I like to watch, and this movie like really satisfied all those things. It was like something that I personally would like enjoy, watching. And, you know, when I initially had that conversation with Andrew, you know, before joining the film and stuff like that, that was what also made me doubly excited to work with Andrew specifically, because he was so clear about his influences, and he, you know, touched on this wide range of other, you know, films that, you know, you wouldn't necessarily think of when you watch Fast, but, you know, when you like see them actually side by side, there's a lot of influence and stuff from them. Like one example is All the President's Men. You know, that movie is very similar to Vast, just because it's two very sort of different people trying to shuffle around and find information and get to this like big piece of information, you know, at the end. They're working towards it. That was a movie that Andrew really sort of reference and stuff for the film. And I don't know, a lot of the other films that we just got to talk about, we just kind of got to like film geek out over Skype. And, you know, that sort of definitely drew me to the project even more, because I knew that, you know, Andrew and I can kind of speak in this like movie shorthand to each other. And, you know, it just sort of like clicks, and it's a really, you know, good way to communicate with me on set and stuff. So yeah, absolutely. That was a huge driving force behind wanting to work with, you know, Andrew and the project, and, you know, having a wonderful time on it.
Thank you so much. It was so lovely to speak to you. Thank you so much for your time.
No, thank
have
you
a
so
lovely
much.
evening. Thank
You too.
you.